Hello, everyone. Today we have a straightforward case. She is a 68-year-old lady who came into the emergency department with history of 5-month gradual but progressive fatigue, lower extremity edema, and headache. She hasn't been seen by any physician for the last 15 years, and she was not taking any medicine. And her blood pressure on arrival was 180 over 110, so she was hypertensive, serum creatinine 2 milligram per deciliter, serum calcium 7, ionized calcium 0.9, phosphorus 4.5, PTH was 165. Her echocardiogram and the EKG showed left ventricular hypertrophy. So she has hypocalcemia and PTH is high, normal phosphorus. And the question is, which of the following is not a direct action of PTH? Increased intestinal absorption of calcium, increased activity of 1-alpha hydroxylase, increased tubular reabsorption of calcium, decreased tubular reabsorption of phosphorus, or increased bone resorption. Which one is not a direct action of the PTH? And the correct answer is increased intestinal absorption of calcium. So PTH, of course, as we know, tries to keep the extracellular calcium concentration with a normal limit by working on different organs, mainly on bone, kidneys, and small intestine. But its action on the bone and the kidney are direct, but its action on small intestine is indirect, and I'll show you this in a minute. So in the bone, the PTH stimulates release of calcium in an indirect process through osteoclast. So because it increases the bone turnover, increases the bone resorption, which ultimately leads to resorption of the bone. However, it doesn't also have a direct action on the osteoclast. It's important to know that PTH receptors are on the osteoblast, not the osteoclast. So the PTH receptors on the osteoblast increase expression of rank L and decrease osteoprotegrin. And the rank L, it stimulates the osteoclastogenesis, while PTH inhibit osteoprotegrin that allows for pre-differentiation of osteoclasts. So it has direct effect on the osteoblast, but indirect on the osteoclast. What about the kidney? The kidney, the PTH has 3 functions. It increases the calcium reabsorption, mainly in the proximal convoluted tubule and also in the ascending loop of Henle, but also the PTH targets the distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct directly and increase calcium reabsorption. What about phosphorus? PTH, of course, is a phosphatoric hormone, so it decreases the phosphate reabsorption in the proximal convoluted tubule. And phosphate combine with the calcium and form insoluble molecule. So higher phosphorus in the blood decrease the calcium and vice versa. So here when the PTH decrease the phosphate reabsorption, it actually increases the ionized calcium in the blood. Starting from the kidney, the PTH stimulates the production of 1-alpha hydroxylase in the proximal convoluted tubule, and the 1-alpha hydroxylase is required to catalyze the synthesis of the active form of vitamin D, the 125 dihydroxycholecalciferol. So from the inactive 25 hydroxycalciferol to the active form. It's very important. So PTH stimulates 1-hydroxylase enzyme. 1-hydroxylase enzyme actually inhibits the PTH. It's called a closed negative feedback mechanism. So again, the PTH stimulate 1-alpha, the hydroxylase enzyme that stimulate the active form of vitamin D synthesis. The active vitamin D plays a role in calcium reabsorption in the distal convoluted tubule via the calbindin D, a cytosolic vitamin D dependent calcium binding protein. But the small intestine doesn't regularly have any PTH receptor. It has vitamin D receptor, but it doesn't have PTH receptor. In the small intestine, vitamin D allows absorption of calcium through an active transcellular pathway that need energy and the passive or inactive paracellular pathway that doesn't usually need energy. So there is no direct action of the PTH on the intestine. Its action is through the vitamin D. The small intestine has, plenty of vitamin D receptor, but it lacks any PTH receptor. So the action of PTH on the intestine is indirect through stimulation of vitamin D, the 125, the active form, through stimulation of the 1-hydroxylase enzyme. PTH1 receptor is a classic PTH receptor, is expressed in high level in bone and the kidney, but not in the intestine. Here are the reference. Thank you so much. And hopefully you enjoy this case.